In episode number 219, we cover Marvel vs. Capcom number 4.
We also have all of the things coming to you from Netflix and more specifically from Disney.
And the moment I'm sure we've all been waiting for, our review of Bad Santa 2. One of Dan's favorite movies was Bad Santa 1. Does this live up?
Our comic book highlight this week will be Superpowers number 1 from the team that brought you Superman Family Adventures.
All of this and more on today's show. Hello and welcome to the Reasons I'm Broke podcast, bringing you the reasons we're broke, ranging from comics, movies, TV, video games, and more. I'm Kelly.
I'm Daniel.
For those of you joining us for the very first time, welcome. The way we format the show is first we start out with some news, ranging from all those things I listed before, and we follow up with a comic book highlight of the week.
This week we're actually going to kick it off with a question of the week from Twitter user and Patreon supporter at Cuban Slim. We had talked about Fantastic Beasts and where to find them last week, our full review. We left it at the very end of episode number 218, so if you don't want to miss out on it, we left it at the tail end, just like we're doing with Bad Santa 2. No spoilers if you tune out early. But in relation to that, and this is a spoiler-free question, so no worries on that end, unless you haven't read the Harry Potter books, and they've been out for 5-6 years now. His question from Bobby was, what is your favorite Harry Potter book and why? What is your favorite moment in said book?
Why don't you kick it off for us?
So my favorite book overall, just looking at all of them, and it's also with my favorite film, it's Prisoner of Azkaban. This is where it introduced the new character of Sirius Black, what this meant for Harry as someone who doesn't have any parents, doesn't really have family that's close to him. He has Ron, he has Hermione, and Sirius Black, at the very end of it, another villain to him. And then you find out at the end that he was very close to James Potter, to Peter Pettigrew as well, and Snape in some weird way. You find out that he's kind of a dick, just like James was. But even though I didn't agree with the way he treated Snape way back when and years ago, it still meant this was a guardian for Harry. This is someone that he could go home to at the very end of the semester. And unfortunately, it did not end up that way, but it was still someone he can write to and connect with. And that was the first time you saw that in the franchise, in the whole story of Harry Potter.
And so what was your favorite line from that book?
I couldn't tell you a specific line, but my favorite line from all of Harry Potter is, it's Chris, my coworker Chris, called it and he said, I already know what it is. And it's always. Mm-hmm. It's always. That's from book 7, the final book where you find out about Snape. And so that's probably my favorite moment in all of Harry Potter is just that Snape flashback, the one chapter where you go back to the past and find out that revelation that he still loved Lily after all the years, after her death, and why he's so adamant about protecting Harry, even up to this very last bit.
That was very good. So can you guess my favorite book?
Your favorite book's probably the last one, and for the same reasons?
My favorite book is actually Pet Project. It is a fan fiction because I have never read a single Harry Potter book.
Tell them what is Pet Project?
Yeah. It is a Snermini story.
Snermini. So Snape and Hermione love story.
Hermione story. Okay, so when I started reading this, right, because it just kind of fell into my lap on it. I was going through DeviantArt, and one of the artists I followed had posted fan art for this particular fan fiction. I was like, what? Snape and Hermione? That can't even be. That's disgusting. How could it happen? I gotta read this. And I started reading it, and then by chapter 30, they were in love, and I was crying, and I'm like, when did this happen?
So he's a predator. Snape is a predator.
No, she was 18 by the time,
He fell in love with her when she was a child, and then they actually did it when she was 18.
No.
Isn't that the story?
No, that's not at all the story. Okay, so the story is she finds out that he's working for the Dark Lord or something. I don't know. She starts paying attention to him and notices that he's all sickly and he's not eating. And so it just kind of becomes a pet project for her to take care of him, right? Mm-hmm. To make him healthier. So she's doing all these secret-y things to try and make him get better. I don't know, somewhere down the road, Harry's being an asshole and talking about suicide or something. And they ended up working together because they found a way to kill Voldemort through the Dark Mark, but she had to go through Snape's to, Killed
to
them
hurt
all.
Voldemort.
Right, to hurt Voldemort. So they start working together with like those good people. Who are those good people? And they hide in the house.
I don't know. The Ron's family? Is that who you're talking about?
No, but I mean, yeah, Ron's family's part of it too, and they're all like a secret society of like good wizards.
Oh, from the Order of the Phoenix.
Yeah, them. Anyway, they start working with them, and then they figure all this stuff out, and then Snape almost dies, and it's in that moment that he realizes that he still likes her or whatever. And then, like, they defeat the Dark Lord, and that's cool. And then she's like, all right, I love you, Snape. And he's like, nah, you're still a kid. Like, learn about your life first. Go and, like, do all the schooling you want and tour the world, and then we'll talk. And then she comes back years later. She's like, look, I still like you. And he's like, no, you just go out and do more things. Just live your life. And then she's like 40 and he's like really old. And she's like, all right, can we get married now? And he's like, yes.
Can we get married now?
That's not how it went, but that's like what it was. That's what happened.
So that was her ultimate goal. So this was written for young women.
I mean, clearly.
And probably by a very young woman, too.
No, it was written by somebody older. I mean, you can tell when they're written by somebody older.
You've told me about this fan fiction in the past. I've never read it. But you had mentioned that they had started this before the books were even finished. Mm-hmm. So when it got to that point of actually J.K. Rowling saying this is how the story ends, the author had to make a decision of either sticking to what is currently written or just kind of making her own thing. And it obviously sounds like Snape made it to 80 years old or whatever. So
I don't think he was 80. Hermione probably wasn't 40, but she was older. Yes, so in the book they had written it as Snape being a pureblood. And, of course, it came out later, and she even says, like, in a footnote somewhere, she goes, look, I understand that he's not anymore, but this is how I was writing the story, and so to continue the story I want to tell, like, this is what I got to do now. So she just stuck with it.
Okay, that's definitely not one of the books, but that is your favorite story from the Harry Potter universe.
But I've never read any of the Harry Potter books, so I can't...
How about this? Which one's your favorite movie? I think that's probably what they're going to ask next.
Like the 7th one, because I cry?
Part 2 or part 1? Remember, that was split in half.
The part where I cry.
Part 2.
They blurred together, okay? It's been a long time.
And your favorite line is always?
Always. Of course it's always. Because then that's when you're like... I remember we went to see it the first time. And I was like, hey, it's Snape, your boyfriend. Like, I was making fun of you.
You were.
Then we got to that part, and I was just tears. And then we went to see it the second time, and the Warner Brothers logo pops up, and I just started thinking about that moment, and I was crying.
Because it opens with Snape. Part 2 just opens with a silhouette of Snape watching over Hogwarts in pain, because if you read the books, you know that he doesn't want to do this either. And he's at the same time keeping the Muggle mixed wizards safe. By putting them into a torture of dungeon and not having them immediately killed, as he was, I guess, ordered to do by Voldemort. You see that, and then you, of course, reflect back into what's going to happen in the movie. All of that just hits you at once. It is Snape's movie. I don't know. I know it's Harry Potter and Voldemort and all of them, but so much focuses on Snape and his actions, especially with Dumbledore, his death and carrying Dumbledore's wishes. That's the reason why Harry Potter, when he's explaining to his kid, describes Snape as the bravest man he ever knew.
Right. My favorite thing to do is when they have like the Harry Potter marathons. They're always in the break room at work, and I always walk through, and if Snape's on, I'm like, Snape's so dreamy, and people are like, what?
Because they always play it for Christmas.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I don't know. Well, because there was Christmas in one of the movies.
In one of the movies, they celebrate Christmas. So now the Harry Potter films are Christmas movies.
Yeah.
Just like Frozen, apparently.
That's playing on like the 25 days of ABC Christmas or whatever. I'm like, Frozen's not a Christmas movie.
It's true. It's not a Christmas movie.
There's snow, but it's not a holiday movie.
You know what is a Christmas movie? The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yes.
And it's only a Christmas movie. This is where I'm getting at, because some people tell me that it's also a Halloween movie. And I said, no, it all revolves around Christmas. It all revolves around Jack no longer wanting Halloween and instead taking over Christmas. And kind of, in his own way, he doesn't mean to do it, but he bastardizes the holiday by mixing in what he recognizes as Halloween into Christmas, because he doesn't understand what Christmas is all about. So some people say, no, it's both holidays. But again, it leads up to Christmas. It opens on Halloween, but then it leads up to Christmas with him just focusing on that holiday for a whole year, 365 days of him prepping for Christmas. And finally it comes, and it ends on Christmas, and Halloween Town gets its Christmas with the snow. It's fucking Christmas. It's a Christmas movie.
You know what else is a Christmas movie? A Year Without a Santa Claus.
Never seen that. Never heard of it.
You've never heard of A Year Without a Santa Claus?
Nope.
Where it has the Meisters and I'm Mr. Nash and Mr. It was one of those like old stop motion ones, like the Rudolph. Did you ever see Rudolph with the Bumble?
I've seen Rudolph. I don't know if is that the title, Rudolph with the Bumble?
No, it's just called Rudolph.
Okay.
But the Bumble is in there.
I don't know what a Bumble is. A bumblebee?
You don't know what the Bumble... Get out of my house. We're done here. This has been the podcast. No more.
Did it air on cable? Because we did not have cable growing up. See, that's why. That's why I didn't see Rudolph or Bumbleman. And
You don't know what a Bumble is?
The Year Without Santa Claus.
The Bumble is the abominable snowman.
I'm sure I've seen him.
Oh man, it's
on
great
merchandise.
because then like the lumberjack's coming after him and he attacks him and the Bumble's like ah, and the lumberjack's like ah, and they both fall off a cliff, right? And you're like, oh shit, man, I love this lumberjack guy, but he died saving the Bumble, and then later he comes in riding on the Bumble, and he's like, Bumbles bounce, so they went all the way down to the bottom of the cliff, and then the abominable snowman bounced up, and then they became best friends.
You may hate me for this, but you singing that song, I know exactly what you're talking about now because of Batman and Robin. There's a scene in which Mr. Freeze is telling his lackeys to sing louder, louder, and they're like, they don't know the lyrics to it, but it's that movie. It's a stop motion.
Mr.
Yes.
Mr. Man, I've only seen that movie once, but I remember it so well.
Because they say everything but Mr. Freeze.
Yes. Do you know about the Island of Misfit Toys? Do you know about that song?
I don't know about that one either.
Danny.
The only Misfit toys I know are from Andy's room in Toy Story.
No. It wasn't in Andy's room. The Misfit Toys were in, like, Sid's room.
Sid's room.
No, but it's an island of misfit toys, and Rudolph lands there, and they're like, we're on the island of misfit toys. Na 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 na, girls and boys. You don't know that song?
I don't. Never heard it.
Oh, my God. And then Rudolph saves them and then gives them all a home because they were discarded toys because ungrateful little shits didn't want them.
I must have had weak Christmases.
Clearly. No wonder you don't like my real tree. Did you have a stocking at least?
No, we did not have stockings.
You didn't have a stocking?
What were you going to hang them from?
You would, nail them to the wall. I don't know.
We did not live in places where you can nail things to the wall. We did not.
No, in my old house, we just used to, tape it to the wall. You could tape it to the wall.
Well, you got to remember, too, is I'm a first-generation Mexican-American. So my parents, when we celebrated Christmas, it was Mexican Christmas. And there's no stockings in Mexican Christmas.
You need a stocking.
I'll give it a shot. I've never had a stocking. I don't know the joys of it.
I'm going to get you... Well, a stocking is what you put all the Dollar Tree store toys in.
So you put junk in it.
Yeah,
stuff you don't want anyway.
Yeah, pretty much. See, so you had your real presents, right? But then the stockings are what you got to open while your mom made Christmas to made breakfast to keep you off her back. And she's like, yeah, open your stocking. And you're like, yeah. And you're pulling out bouncy balls. And I think I got floss in there one year, some socks. I'm going to get you a stocking.
Well, I'll tell you what, maybe some of these Christmas movies are going to make their way onto Netflix, because next we're going to go into what's new on Netflix for December 2016.
These are just our highlights. You can go online and find the full list there. These are just what are important to us. Mostly Daniel.
So going down the list here, Beverly Hills Cop. This is the Eddie Murphy film. I've seen plenty of clips from it, but I've heard great things. Have to see it. I'm going to watch it this month.
I know less about this movie than you know about Bumbles, so. We also have D2, The Mighty Ducks.
I think that's the one where they fight the Russians. And Emilio Estevez's hand gets fucked up, or his wrist gets fucked up even more. When he has a slap-off, shoot-off thing with the coach of the Russian. I haven't seen this since before I was a teenager, by the way. But with the coach of the Russian team who purposely hurts him. I think it might have been his foot. And so they're the evil ones, they're the bad guys, and they wear black. They have to defeat them at the end.
I don't even think I saw this movie. I remember seeing the first one. I don't remember the second one at all.
Also, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Nah, I loved that movie.
Haven't seen it as a kid since I was a kid, but I remember really liking it.
I remember really liking it too. And then by the fourth one, I'm like, this dad is pretty irresponsible. We also have The Adventures of Puss in Boots, Season 4.
Still going. That show is still going on Netflix.
Good. Hey, as long as they make money.
Just goes to show you that any character can have his own show as long as it's on Netflix. I love Puss in Boots, and I've seen most of the first season, but as much as I love the character, and he's my favorite Shrek character, I have not kept up with this.
Oh no. Who's got time? We don't keep up with the shows we really like.
And finally, Captain America Civil War. is already hitting Netflix. This is part of the brand new Disney Netflix exclusive deal in which Netflix gets to put in all of these Disney movies, the animated ones, the Marvel ones, and slowly sprinkle them all throughout whatever, whenever they want to release them. And right now it's Civil War, because they can use those clips in those commercials that you're going to see on YouTube, that you're going to see on TV. Get Netflix for $8.99 a month and see these great movies. And then they'll show clips of Captain America Civil War and Puss in Boots Season 4.
Except that's not Disney, but okay.
Well, this is just a Netflix commercial in general.
Just a Netflix commercial.
They can pull a Hulu in which I saw these commercials on Hulu, and this is what got me excited. They said, watch James Bond, the full collection, all the movies, including Spectre. I'm like, fuck yes. All of these on Hulu. I immediately went over, searched 007, added all of the movies so I can add them to my queue and watch them at any time. First one being GoldenEye that I wanted to see. And I scrolled over to that list recently, and it says expiring for almost all of them. I'm like, you motherfuckers. So this is just to try to get subscribers immediately. Yeah. Like, oh, James Bond is on here. Get them hooked on Hulu, and then, well, we only licensed it for 3 months, so
JK.
They could pull that, but with Disney and Netflix pretty much being in bed together, Disney owns Netflix at this point.
Well, yeah.
If I remember correctly. I think we covered that like a year and a half ago. So you're going to start seeing more of this. If anything, Civil War makes up for the weaker month that was November.
Disney's not losing any money with this, though, at all. So they are on track to beat the all-time yearly box office record of $6.89 billion currently held by Universal.
So what is helping Disney reach this giant milestone? Doctor Strange has made $582 million, with Moana opening on Thanksgiving weekend at $25 million, with a tracking of $90 million for the full weekend.
Better than Frozen did, by the way. I just want to throw that out there.
That's massive. I remember how big fucking Frozen was.
Oh, it was huge.
Moana doing better than that? Holy shit.
What do you always call Moana?
Menorah.
So this does not take into account Star Wars Rogue One coming up on December 16th, which we know will be huge also. I've already heard people like, Darth Vader's in this. We need to go see it for Darth Vader. I'm like, he's going to be in there for like 2 seconds. But
exactly. That's what I've been telling customers too, because they're all saying, I wonder how intricate he's going to be to the plot. Like, is he going to be in there a lot? He's going to be in it as much as he was in the other movies. Very little. If anything, he will be kind of like the Joker in The Dark Knight, where we got, or even Joker in Suicide Squad, not much screen time. He'll just be popping up here and there. And you know what? That's going to be enough for the Star Wars fans, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
Just to see Darth Vader alive again. Yeah, it takes place earlier in the timeline, but who cares? That is really cool. And having James Earl Jones return, why not? Both Finding Dory and Zootopia have each brought in $1 billion, with Jungle Book joining them at just under $1 billion.
Zootopia was great. I really enjoyed that movie. We need to watch it again. It is on Netflix.
It is also on Netflix. Finding Dory was pretty good. I think we like Zootopia more. And we haven't seen The Jungle Book yet, but that is also hitting Netflix.
Awesome. So definitely I foresee them reaching that goal and surpassing it, setting the all-time record.
I am curious to see what the number is for inflation kind of removed from that. Because we're going to see the record break in box office, within 5-10 years, several times, just because ticket prices go up and inflation. So I'm very curious what the actual real yearly record is for number of tickets sold by a single studio. And I don't know if that information is out there. I haven't been able to find it. But Walt Disney, just for them to be able to say, hey, we're making these Marvel movies. We're making these Disney animated
Universal.
Movies. We broke the record. All the stockholders can be happy. All the big bosses can pay themselves a nice bonus. But even this box office record of $6.89 billion that they're aiming towards, I don't think compares to all that they make on marketing, on merchandise, on the parks, on
not
food
on
in the parks.
For sure.
It's insane. They just, this is literally nothing for them. I think it's Disney.
All right, here we go. Oh, I have actual movies. How much they made with inflation. Gone with the Wind is still the highest.
Yes, number of tickets sold.
What do you think number 2 is?
Maybe Titanic.
Star Wars.
Episode 4, A New Hope. Is it just called Star Wars?
Says Star Wars.
It's episode 4. Yep.
Okay. Number 3.
I couldn't guess. I don't know. Casablanca.
Sound of Music.
Okay.
Number 4.
Casablanca.
E.T. And number 5.
Is it? You got to give me a clue here. Is it modern or Lion King?
Oh,
Titanic. thought you were singing, ah, Sibenya.
No. Honorable mentions, you have Jaws on here at number 7. Exorcist is number 9.
Beautiful.
Snow White is 10. Force Awakens is 11.
Yep, I knew that one.
Avatar, Not the Last Airbender is
not know that
15.
one.
Lame. Jurassic Park is 17. Lion King is 19. It was up there. Overall, it looks like Fox had the most of these. Fox and Paramount.
Get on it, Fox and Paramount. Actually, Paramount I don't think is going to hit that record anytime soon.
No.
We have not seen as many movies with that Paramount logo. Last time I saw a Paramount movie was probably, that I recall, oh, you know what? Maybe Star Trek. I think Star Trek was it.
Is Star Trek Paramount?
I'm pretty sure it is.
I don't know.
So on to some video game news, and this still relates to Disney. According to Polygon, Marvel vs. Capcom 4 will be announced during PlayStation Experience.
Early rumors claim that Marvel has restricted Capcom into focusing more on their cinematic characters and to lean less on properties like the X-Men and the Fantastic Four.
What's funny about that is when Marvel vs. Capcom 3 came out, Disney Marvel were not letting them use characters that were going to appear in movies.
Mm-hmm.
And this is before they decided on Guardians of the Galaxy or Doctor Strange, which is why they went with lesser characters like Rocket Raccoon making it in there. And for Doctor Strange, they said, yeah, you can fucking use him, but he has to levitate. Was like their big thing, is he has to be levitating the entire time.
Okay.
So even then there were restrictions, but there were other characters they were trying to get that Disney said, no, we're about to make movies out of these, so use other characters. Everyone that people wanted DLC paid for to use those characters weren't making the cut. Just, again, they had their grip on all of those characters. They'd have to really look over the animation and the characters and the writing. And in this case, it's now completely flip-flop. Now they're saying, promote just our cinematic universe. Don't use new X-Men characters. And this is just a rumor, but this all came from certain developers overseas. So there's some truth to it.
Right. Well, they've also now established these characters. So you wouldn't, I see it from their point of view. You wouldn't want to have conflicting views of, well, it was like this in the game and now it's like this in the movie. Now they can say, look, we've already established these, put these characters in your game. You already know what they look like. You know how they move. Make it happen.
My only argument against them doing this is that the audience that are playing Marvel vs. Capcom aren't necessarily the audience that you're trying to catch on the cinematic side. Gamers are still going to want to see these movies, even if they're different from what they see on the big screen.
Well, yeah, you and I get that. Big wigs that just sit in an office, they don't understand.
It's all about branding for them, right? I could even see them doing sort of what they did with Injustice and making movie skins for the game, in which you have to, here's the Civil War Captain America, here's the classic Captain America. We probably won't see, as the rumor suggests, the Human Torch anywhere in here as a playable character, or Sue Storm, or even another brand new X-Men character like Apocalypse playable. Probably won't see that.
I'd play as Apocalypse.
What? How would you play as I'm confused.
I'd just walk around and turn people into sand.
You can't play as Apocalypse, though.
But I would. I'd play as him. I'd make it happen. Don't tell me I can't do things. I am your Epotus.
We can make that another Patreon goal.
Okay, yes. If we get $7 million, I'll add Apocalypse to Capcom.
Come on, Disney. Just a little bit. Just a tiny fraction of what you made from cinematic.
Yeah,
Throw
just
it our
a little
way.
bit. So keeping on with Marvel, the first episode of the Marvel Funko-themed computer animated shorts has debuted on Marvel Entertainment's YouTube channel.
Each episode is 90 seconds long and is currently planned for a total of 3 shorts.
We have a quote here. Quote, telling Marvel stories in the Funko Pop aesthetic is a special kind of magic unlike anything we've ever done. This comes from Court Lane, Marvel's Senior VP of Animation and Family Entertainment. These shorts are both hilarious and action-packed and irresistibly adorable too. I think all audiences will love them. End quote.
So we saw the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Featured Spider-Man and Iron Man versus Loki.
Mm-hmm.
It was okay. It was fine.
It was an animated short with Funkos. That is what it was.
Yeah, you can't really expect more out of this. We didn't have voice acting. We didn't have an intricate story. It was just a little battle with the Funko characters, probably aimed at kids. I don't know. It was fine. They're free. You don't pay for them. It's not a TV show.
If that's what they want to spend their money and time on, that's fine. Let them do it.
Do you think this is at all helping their branding of the Marvel Funko things? Is that giving them more weight or value?
I mean, maybe So the only thing I could think of is kids watch these and, oh man, the Funko's cool, I need to get one. If a kid just sees a Funko sitting in a store, that's not as cool as the Iron Man Super Play set sitting next to it. So maybe to some small degree, but I don't see it as anything huge.
Yeah, this isn't on the level of Lego Dimensions, in which they completely took over the toy-to-life market. Mm-hmm. Like, now Skylanders is talking about not doing any more games.
Good,
because
Skylanders, nobody cares.
They did fine. They did great.
Guess what? But I don't care, so it's fine. Buy Skylanders.
But in this case, Funko, Marvel, doing these shorts, it's only 3. It's on YouTube. It's free. Can't really complain much about it. Rocky Raccoon and Groot will be featured in Episode 2, releasing on December 7th. And Episode 3 will showcase Deadpool vs. Venom on December 14th.
I mean, Rocky Raccoon and Groot sounds cool, but I don't need it in my life.
They're saving the best for last, Deadpool vs. Venom. As much as we're not crazy about the characters, that's going to be the most downloaded one.
Oh, for sure. We do have a... Do I have to say it? You have to say it.
We haven't done it
Why
in a few episodes.
Why do I have to say it? Sylvania, no. This does bring us to this week's Nerd Rage Reaction! Do you still put in the sound effects, or do you just have mine?
Yes, I still put in the sound effects.
Why don't you just have mine?
So Nerd Rage Reaction is a quote that we found on the internet underneath the story. Maybe it's a YouTube comment in which we found funny because it was irrational or just didn't make much sense. We're not going to name out the person or give their username. If you really want to find it, you can go out and find it yourself. But this week's quote for this Nerd Rage Reaction to the Funko Pop animated short says, "Why is this a thing?"
Why are you a thing?
Jesus. It was cold.
They're just being silly. Like, who cares if they don't like it?
It's business. That's why it's a thing. Because business. Because every other comment around this person was, more of these. We love this. Put this Funko Pop. Make more than just the Marvel Funko Pops. Do a Back to the Future short. Do a Star Wars Funko short. So that's why this is a thing.
My question too is, how many times did that person watch it? Because I'm guessing at least 2.
Why 2?
I'm just throwing that out there, at least 2, because they had to watch it once and be like, what is this? And then they had to watch it again. And then they commented with, why is this a thing? But they still spent 3 minutes of their time
to whine about it.
Yeah. But something that we are glad is a thing is the upcoming show Justice League Action. And the opening has been leaked online.
The full show comes out on December 16th on Cartoon Network. 20-second opening.
19 seconds. Please get it right.
And it features a lot of the lesser-known characters in the DC universe. That tells us that this is going to be sort of like Justice League Unlimited, in which they were shorter episodes. They didn't do the part 1 and part 2 like the whole first season of Justice League were. Oof. These are already going to be, what would we say, like 12-minute episodes, kind of like Teen Titans Go, that same format. And they're going to focus on characters like Swamp Thing, which was the big one that I really was happy about. And Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman are pretty much going to just be the anchors of the host show, where they don't have to... Did I say host show?
The host show. Is that what it is?
The entire show is what I'm going to go with. To sort of, okay, this is the end of the season. We're going to bring in the Trinity, but also these other characters that you've kind of built up. And I think that's important for them. The smaller characters, unless you see them on The Flash or Arrow, aren't really known to younger viewers. They know about Batman, they know about Superman, now they know about the Suicide Squad, but they're not too sure about Swamp Thing. We haven't seen him in television for years and years. He's about to show up in the Justice League Dark animated movie. We're also going to have the, maybe it might be the same version of Hawkman and Hawkgirl that we got in Legends of Tomorrow.
No, lame. I don't like them.
But they might go with a different one. Maybe they'll go with Shara and Jon Stewart. Who knows?
Yes.
They could just reuse that material.
Yep, do it. It was great material.
So that's what this is telling me, is we're going to have lesser characters, but familiar ones in the background so that kids aren't completely lost.
This is a great idea. It's pulled in people like us who are excited to watch these, but like you said, at the same time, you're getting kids introduced to these other characters, because DC has such a wide range of characters that they can use for these different stories. So, yeah, don't just stick with those 3. Let's see them all. Dr.
Fate, Solomon Grundy, a wide array of lanterns that they can go with. Did I tell you Box? I found out about Box recently. It's like Box. It's B-OX.
Okay, who's Box?
So who's the writer right now to Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps? His name escapes me, but I saw that in this one panel of DC Rebirth, there was a frog Green Lantern.
Mm-hmm.
And in long-time Brokettes know that frogs are my favorite animals
Your favorite
of all
thing.
time. Yes. So when I saw this, I'm like, holy shit. Took a picture of it, sent it right over to him on Twitter and said, when are we going to get a one-shot featuring the Green Lantern frog? And he said, right after we do the one-shot featuring Box. And he sent the picture, and it's a box that's a Green Lantern. It's just a box that floats around. And when he speaks, do you know what the word bubble says?
What?
It shows a cube. Like just a cube, a line art cube, 3D cube. And that's how it speaks.
That's brilliant.
And some aliens can understand it because it's the Green Lantern technology. So I said, holy shit. So the full name of the frog Green Lantern was Lock something. So I said, it might just be Lock. And I said, when is the Lock/Box one shot then? Because that already, the title makes sense. Right. It's perfect. It's a complete word. Let's get that. He didn't respond to it. But I was just surprised to learn that there is a Box Green Lantern somewhere in the universe.
And a frog Green Lantern.
And the frog Green Lantern. The frog Green Lantern, when I did more research, it held off Sinestro's forces after he handpicked what his squad was going to be, and all of which were just fresh, brand new Green Lanterns because of the wide death of Green Lanterns and the upping of numbers after Sinestro's Corps was pretty much trying to take over the universe. And he held off with his squad, the Sinestro Corps. I'm like, holy shit, man. This frog is a badass. That cube box is amazing because it's a box that flies around.
So can I put a stick in a leaf in box to recreate what
what the frog is used to?
Is that a thing?
I just want to see these two in Justice League action. They've got
That's
to put them in
there. That's not going to happen. What are you even talking about?
Give me Box
you
and
pick
Lock.
the most obscure characters in the DC universe.
That's what the show is, though. You have to highlight the obscure characters.
Yeah, but not the most obscure characters. Not a frog and a box with a Green Lantern ring.
The strongest of wills in the planet of boxes and the planet of frogs.
Oh my goodness. Yes, apparently. It's not going to happen. But we'll probably see like Constantine and like you said, Swamp Thing's going to be in there and
Solomon Grundy
and other people and so on.
So one of the two movie reviews we're going to do today, this one's been out for several months now, so I'm not too worried about spoilers, and it's not a theatrical release anyway. It's Teen Titans vs. Justice League.
Ready when you are.
I thought you hated us.
I'm a Titan.
Direct to video, direct to Blu-ray, and after this we'll do our Patreon shout-out, comic book highlight, and finally Bad Santa 2. So this animated movie, spoiler alert if you care, it's nothing huge. It's Teen Titans the movie. The title, I think, is a little bit misleading.
I agree.
And calling it Teen Titans versus Justice League, I think they were fine just calling it Teen Titans.
The title was definitely misleading because it's not even really them fighting.
No, not even. There's not even like a scene of the Justice League fighting the Teen Titans just because they disagree over something.
Right. Or to just, like, fuck with them.
They argue a little bit.
No, Damian runs his mouth.
So then every comic book with Damian should be the Teen Titans versus Batman.
Yes,
Teen Titans versus Ra's al Ghul, by that logic. But I mean, it's a title. Who gives a shit? It's just a marketing thing because we had Batman v Superman. Why not call it Justice League versus Teen Titans?
Why not? So the premise is Damian's a little shit, so Batman sends him to hang out with the Teen Titans, hoping to teach him some manners. Mm-hmm. In the Teen Titans is, of course, Raven. And her father, Trigon, has decided he's going to take over the world again and is sending his demons to possess people.
And at one point, it possesses some of the members, like 3 members of the Justice League, so they have to hold them off and fight them.
Not Batman.
That's I know. That was the best.
That was awesome.
Of course not Batman. Why?
No.
Because it's fucking Batman.
It's Batman.
He injected himself with some bat serum that caused the demon to be like, oh, fuck, man, I think it was just, in Batman. Batman fought him off, I think is what it is. And then the serum was just him pretending to fall asleep so he can keep an eye and see how they fight. Because now he has to have a contingency plan against the Teen Titans.
Yeah, it's true. Batman injected himself with a nerve toxin because he discovered that if the host was injured, the demon wouldn't possess him. Oh, and one of my favorite lines, again, huge spoilers for this movie, sorry guys, is when Damien's like, yeah, Batman injected himself so that we would have a chance at living. Because they all knew if Batman got possessed, like, fucking done.
Mm-hmm.
You can fight off the rest of the Justice League. You can't fight off Batman.
It's true.
Ah, so great.
For fans of the 2000s Teen Titans television show, the one that people won't shut up about, will this satisfy their Teen Titans hunger that maybe they're not getting from Teen Titans Go?
No. I don't know. They do have some nods to it. So some differences. You have Starfire in there, and she's kind of the leader of them. She's much older. You don't have the original Robin. He's, of course, become Nightwing, but they still hint at some romance and sexy times between them.
Mm-hmm.
You have Raven and Beast Boy, of course, who are, of course, younger than Starfire. But they do hint at Beast Boy having a crush on Raven, which we got from the older show. You have Blue Beetle in there now, who's just there to add some random Hispanic remarks.
Which they didn't go overboard with.
They did.
I will say.
But, I mean, we expect it every time that happens.
Where they just throw in because this is how we speak, apparently, throw in a random Spanish word in the middle of our sentences.
Yep.
Just algo random, just like that.
I know what you're saying, amigo.
Exactly, that kind of shit. And they only did it twice, so I was like,
no, there
all
was
right.
more than that.
I only counted it twice.
No, there was one time he's like, ay, Dios mío.
Dios mío. But he didn't mix it with English. He just, it's a phrase.
Okay, well... so he was there, and then the other nod that they give to it is at the end, or throughout at a certain part of the movie, Cyborg teams up with them to help, and they're like, hey, you want to join the Teen Titans? He's like, no, I'm a Justice League member now, but then in the end, he, like, shows up at the Titans Tower with pizza.
Was that an original Teen Titans thing? Because I know in Teen Titans Go, he and Beast Boy are huge with pizza.
Oh, yeah, it was in the original Teen Titans, too. They just go and, like, eat food.
I think the movie was primarily built for, I would say, our generation, because you have stuff like DDR in there, references to DDR, which isn't really a thing anymore with teenagers. And then you have Teen Titans, all the nods to the older show. Speaking
of DDR, I found the mat in my parents' garage. I'm like, oh, I need to pull this thing out again, except I need a PS2.
PS2 or PS3 with an adapter. They have adapters that you can plug in.
Adapters for, like, the old thingy? Stop it. We need to get one and bust out my DDR. Dream a dream, lover, take me in your dreams. Take me. I was like, bump, 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 bump.
Next time we go to one of the arcades that have those old DDR machines, I will do it. I will do standard mode, maximum unlimited. That song was insane.
What is this? How's it go?
I couldn't tell you right now. I just remember it was the hardest. It was dun 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 dun.
That's too much work, man.
I was and all those little beats were steps. Like you have to be that fucking quick.
That's crazy. No, I was the best. Dream a dream, and then in that same one there was blow my whistle, baby. Do 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 do. Do you remember that song?
Blow my whistle, bitch. That's what the original.
Oh well, in TDR it's blow my whistle, baby, and we're playing it, and then one of my friends like he's talking about a blowjob, and I was like, oh.
Was his name Clayton by any chance? Professor Clayton?
It might have been. So anyway, then when I played at home, I'd turn it down like really low, and then the one I had for my house also had Sean Paul. Come on, get with it. Girl, shake that booty do 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 do. And then I turned that down really low. And that was the one where it played the actual music video instead of like just having the song. And he was like grinding up on girls. And I was like, oh, my parents are home. Oh, I love that game.
So yeah, that's in Teen Titans. Sean Paul grinding on people.
Yes, that is in Teen Titans. No, but they did play DDR, except they had like moons and suns and stars and a circle.
An original soundtrack. So credit to them for going all the way on this thing. That was like a mini music video. Robin versus Beast Boy on DDR.
Robin just kicking ass.
Overall, the movie was... I mean, I guess I'd call it middle of the road.
Yeah.
It wasn't the best of the animated movies, and I don't think we've gotten a really, really good DC animated movie. I know they like to credit Warner Brothers Animation for kicking Marvel's ass in the animation side, and overall they have been, but the last really good thing, besides the Killing Joke, which I know was very divisive and many people didn't enjoy, in my opinion, was The Dark Knight Returns. Parts 1 and 2 as one whole project was excellent. That really, really nailed it. Since then, like the Justice League movie, the Throne of Atlantis, Teen Titans versus Justice League, hasn't really reached that bit that we've gotten from those older movies, the older adaptions.
I agree. I think this was a good starting point for kids, though, for people who used to like the team, for people or kids who are getting into this team and starting to like them. And it's a great, stepping stone for further movies that they may want to do. And I hope they do more because I do really enjoy the Teen Titans.
So little by little, Brokettes, we are going to be getting into these animated movies. I know there's been Batman Bad Blood, there's Batman vs. Robin that we haven't seen yet, but we're slowly catching up, and this also gives you a chance to see the movie. By the time the review comes out, we can all kind of think about it. But next we have our Patreon shout-out for the week. We've got 2 of them.
This week, our first shout-out goes to Alexander. You can find him on Twitter at Swordfish Show, or you can go to purpleswordfish.com.
And also over to Lourdes and Katie. Huge thanks to all 3 of you for your Patreon support.
If you too want to be a Patreon supporter, you can go to patreon.com/thereasonsimebroke. For as little as $1 a month, which is 25 cents an episode, you can help us reach our next goal. Like we said earlier, our eventual goal will be to put somebody in the game. I already forgot who we were talking about.
Apocalypto.
Oh, yes.
Apocalypse.
We're going to put Apocalypse in the game, but it will have my face. That's one of our goals.
No, the Kelli skin is extra. That's a reach.
Oh.
That's the next tier.
Oh, that's the next tier.
After we reach that goal.
That'll be DLC. But, only DLC if, you get perfects on everything. Then it's perfection! And then, I come down as Apocalypse, but it's my face, and I'm like,
Do you just squish the old Apocalypse?
Yes, I just squish him. And it's Emperor Kelli. That's what I'm called.
So right now on Patreon, we are at $38 out of 50 to reaching goal number 3. Huge thanks again that we reached these first 2 goals this year, so that is awesome. And as a reminder, we are trying to get to 30 reviews on iTunes. We are currently at 23.
Ooh.
So if you want to take a few minutes to try to leave us a review, it takes, again, just 2 minutes. And it goes a long way in helping us reach higher marks on the charts for Batman, for DC Comics, Pokemon, and on podcasts overall. It helps new listeners find us.
And like I said, guys, if we hit 50 by the end of the year, I will send all of you a handwritten comic book from the 25-cent bin.
Even if you don't listen to us using iTunes, most people out there have iPhones, which comes with the podcast app. So sign in, go into the shop, search The Reasons I'm Broke under podcasts, and you can leave us a review on there. If you don't have an iPhone and you have an Android device, whatever app you use, if you can rate us on there, that would be much appreciated. Or if you have a desktop computer, I know a lot of people use iTunes for their music, even if they have a Windows computer. You can also leave us a review on there. You just need to have an account, which if you're already buying music on iTunes, you have an account.
I've decided my new name.
In general, over Pulpa Kelly?
Yes.
What is that?
I am Emperor Apalpalypto Kelly.
Apalpalypto?
Yes. It's a mixture of Palpa Kelly and Apocalypto.
Time to make a new Twitter.
Emperor Apalpalypto. I crack myself up. I'm so funny.
We also want to thank fandomfi.com for the help with all of the decals. They really help us out, and the decals are really cool. They always turn out really great.
But of course, guys, our podcast will always be free. The best thing you can do is talk to us on Twitter. Of course, leave us a review on iTunes. Tell your friends about us. Let them know that, we're kind of okay to listen to, I guess.
I need a new podcast to listen to. Well, I've got just the thing. Anytime you've done that, we've very much appreciated it.
We've felt it. It's like Goku when he pulls the spirit from the world and just goes to us. Somebody mentioned us.
We're building up the spirit bomb, Brokettes. So add to it.
What happens when we build up the spirit bomb?
Well, they'll find out.
Oh.
They'll find out.
Oh.
Next is our comic book highlight this week, and this is an all-new series called Superpowers #1.
This is written by Art Baltazar and Franco, not James Franco. And the art is by Art Baltazar.
These are the creators behind Superman Family Adventures and more famously, Tiny Titans. That's what got them really out there. That's what got them tons of projects. The Super Pets, DC Super Pets was another big one.
I enjoy the Super Pets a lot.
They're making merchandise for that now.
Yep.
We had talked about the fucking cat earlier this year, and the creator getting upset about it.
Yep.
So Superpowers number 1, we're going to be buying anything that they make as far as DC products. We didn't get E2B Hellboy, but we also aren't Hellboy readers. It's not really for us. Superpowers is perfect. For this first arc, Superman mainly, but you get Wonder Woman, you get Batman in there, you get Alfred. No, it wasn't short stories like Superman Family Adventures, was it?
Kind of. So it was one big story, but told in like 3 small arcs.
So perfect for kids, which is what the kind of trend is, to make a one-shot story so that kids don't have to collect Superpowers 1 through 17 to enjoy number 18.
Right.
They do the same thing when Teen Titans Go. They do it with Scooby-Doo Team Up, Scooby-Doo Where Are You? You can just pick up number 200 and something of Scooby-Doo and you'll be fine. And that's the same thing with Superpowers. It wraps up here, but to give you a hint at the end as to what the next villain will be.
I really enjoyed this one. So I have had, we talked about this a long time ago when we were reading some of their other books of them not telling a strong enough story for me, I guess was where I was. But this one had that, and it was really cute. And Batman was just hilarious. The parts they had with him were just really, really funny. So like you said, it's great for a kid's book, but we really enjoyed it as well.
So being that it is December, we went out and saw Bad Santa 2.
Bad Santa 2!
As we mentioned in the opening. So this will be a spoiler review. For anyone that is planning on seeing Bad Santa 2, thank you so much for tuning in to episode number 219. We'll see you next week. Otherwise,
I traveled all the way across the country to rob a goddamn charity.
I got an associate who's got this thing all lined up.
What associate?
Shit stick.
Mom.
You still hit like your fucking father.
Bad Santa 2. Almost, I think it's 15 years since the last
Wow. Really?
one. And the last one came out in 2003, I believe. It was before I graduated.
Well, that's not 15 years. It's only 13 years.
Okay, so 13 years ago.
Okay, fine. 13 years.
The reviews were saying, we've been asking for Bad Santa 2 for years. And the summary was, be careful what you asked for. I disagree. I fucking loved it. I enjoyed myself. The humor was right up my fucking alley. I was afraid that the director had switched on over to the same director that did Mean Girls, actually. So
Oh, yeah?
probably more expensive than the first director in
Yeah.
Bad Santa. And he kept the style very similar to the first one. Still not too many shots that were kept on like in Bad Santa, but it was still perfect as far as comedy. I got the lines I wanted. It was them, making fucking dick jokes and drunk jokes and making fun of, I don't know the actor's name or even the character's name at this point, but the little person in the movie, calling him all kind. This is not a political correct movie, and they make fun of people that say, "Oh, you can't be saying that." They make fun of that crowd as well, the PC police. It is not for everyone, and this is probably why I enjoyed it, because humor for me, there's really no bounds to it. It's hard to offend me when it comes to that kind of shit. So it picked up right where it ended. I loved it.
My favorite part of this movie was watching you laugh so hard. But no, I enjoyed it too. Probably about the same amount that I enjoyed the first one. I wasn't crazy about it. The parts that still get me are when all these women are sleeping with him, and I'm like, ugh.
With Billy Bob.
Yeah, he's gross. But all these ladies are all over him, and I'm like, okay.
If you think this is just the retelling of the first one, you're kind of right. They use the exact same formula, and honestly, I didn't mind because you go there for the jokes. Bad Santa 1 was a good standalone movie. There is a difference here. Bad Santa is the better movie, and it's not just, because it's the first one, it's better. Because it's not always the case, as we've seen with Aliens and Terminator 2.
And Mulan.
You like Mulan 2 more than one?
No.
The first Bad Santa was overall a strong story. The directing was great. I love the acting. I love the little kid. The second one is, let's do the first one again, but as it implies, 13 years later.
Right.
So now the kid is older, and it is the same fucking actor, which I didn't know until after I saw the movie, and I was like, who did they get to play the little kid? And it's the fucking little kid still. He had lost some weight in between on all these years, so you have to gain it back on for this role. So he's back, and then you have Kathy Bates as Billy Bob Thornton's mom. And they're just trying to rob a charity around Christmas time again. And there's another twist at the end with them betraying each other because they want a cut of it. So that impact isn't as strong here, because in the first, it's a story of Santa Claus finding meaning in life through this little kid. This kid saving his life when he's hit rock bottom. And then at the very end, him getting that Christmas present to the kid and getting blown away by the police.
Mm-hmm.
It is fucking amazing. This second one, it's not really, doesn't really give you that same impact.
I mean, the kid still saves him. The
That's
kid
true.
still gives him meaning in life.
Yeah, sort of. It's still sort of there. But they don't really, they try to repeat some of the same characters, which was probably the worst part of it for me. Because in the first one, you had Bernie Mac was the mall owner.
Mm-hmm.
Head of security, whatever. And his lackey was the one always telling him, like, oh, he did this, and he's fucking women in the ASS. Like, he's this very vanilla fucking guy. And they have that same exact character in the sequel, and they have that same charity owner in the second one. But it's not Bernie Mac, so it's weaker. It's much weaker. Same with the secondary character. My wife died 2 years ago. So them shitting on him was the best part, but them just recreating that again, I thought was probably the weakest, and that is the worst part of the movie, and that's not even bad at all.
Right.
In the whole scheme of this movie, I laughed at the jokes. The jokes weren't just repeated from the first one. It's more of what I wanted, and I got it.
More politically incorrect.
Tons of it, and probably more jarring now than 13 years ago.
Yep. Yeah, I was still amazed that they put that much in there because they were really going off about some stuff, and I'm like, oh, but this is funny.
It's still going to pale a little bit when compared to the first one, but if you enjoyed Bad Santa 1 at all, I think you'll have a good time at Bad Santa 2. Mm-hmm. I definitely did. Heads up, don't stay after the credits. There's nothing after the credits, just like the first one. That is something that we're all kind of trained for now, is staying after the credits, thinking that there's websites out there that tell you.
Who was the first one that did that? Toy Story.
They
made you stay through the credits.
Because of the bloopers. I feel like there's been movies, even way before the 90s, that have had after credits scene. I know some people like to say it's the Marvel movies. No, there's been after credits scenes.
No, there was definitely before. Well, because Pirates of the Caribbean has an after credits scene.
That's true, yeah.
That was the first place that I saw it, because I remember I saw it the first time, and then I was online later, and they're like, no, you have to stay after the credits. I'm like, well, I gotta go back and stay after the credits. But I'm sure there was something before that. I think that was the first one that I stayed through.
Unfortunately for Bad Santa 2, it's not doing too hot at the box office. It's not doing well.
So we're not going to get a Bad Santa 3.
It might make half its money.
Aww.
It might. I don't know. Maybe the Christmas season, maybe there's a Christmas miracle, Kelly. And Bad Santa 2 gets some of that money that Moana doesn't really need because it's Disney. Just go watch Bad Santa 2.
Go watch Bad Santa 2 instead.
I remember I was a little bit worried about getting seats for Bad Santa 2, and you're like, no one's going to see Bad Santa 2. People are seeing Moana. People are seeing Doctor Strange. And sure enough, there were 4 other people in that whole entire theater with us.
4 of them came. There were 6 people, and 4 of them came halfway through the movie. I think they were looking for a place to make out.
Poor Bad Santa 2.
Listen, that guy would not care if that's what somebody went to see his movie for, because that's all he did in his movie.
Billy Bob Thornton hasn't aged since the first one, and that's probably because he looked kind of old in the first one now already. So the one thing I did notice, in Bad Santa 1, Billy Bob Thornton was drunk on set to help with the character. And you can tell if you actually watch the movie, there's some scenes there, you're like, okay, there's something. He's tipsy at the very least. You see Bad Santa 2, and it doesn't seem like he's drunk at all in this. I don't think he played it as well as far as being drunk all the time, but you also saw him drink a lot less in the sequel, so maybe that has something to do with it. And I'm sure the other bit is that Billy Bob Thornton's 13 years older. He can't be just getting
drinking
drunk on set for a role. So other than that, though, very solid, very funny. Shot fine.
There he is,
shot
jumping
well.
on him.
You're looking up screenshots for the movie?
I was trying to figure out what was the first movie with after credits scene. Wasn't it that one with Matthew Broderick?
Oh, could be. Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
Yeah, that's the first one I remember.
There you go. Maybe that's the one. Who knows?
I don't know if that's the one.
There's probably a more obscure one that Ferris Bueller is probably one of the more famous ones. There's probably something before that. Who knows?
If you guys know what it is, hit us up on Twitter at Reasons I'm Broke or at Papa Kelly.
Can you do the Googling for us? Thanks.
Can you just find out? Because I just don't feel like it.
No, you tried to look, though.
Yeah, I did. I typed in first movie with an after credits scene. and they're just popping up with all the
just examples of after credit scene
right,
movies.
all the Marvel movies. They're like, what's at the end of Marvel? I don't care about what is at the end of Marvel. From Russia with Love.
Oh, fuck, the James Bond movies.
Yep.
Of course.
That was the first one.
Of course. Fuck. Well, there you go. Stop tweeting. We know.
We figured it out because they stopped listening to go look this up and tweet it to us. So that was where it all began. The first real one was 1979's The Muppet Movie.
All right, then.
And then, I don't know, the Simpsons movie's in there for some reason, too.
That's way after that, though.
Star Wars.
Star Wars does not have an after credit scene.
The Phantom Menace. Vader's breathing.
No, that was just over the credits.
It says modern use of post-credit scene. Listen, I'm just reading a brief history of post-credit scenes, okay? And it's written by some lady named Betty, so she may or may not know what's going on. So, guys, we do have to apologize. This is a shorter show for us this week. There's not a lot of news. I'm trying to hop down my rabbit holes, but Danny will only let me go so far before he pulls me back in. But before we sign off, we did have something pretty interesting come up this week that Daniel read about political correctness in comic books.
You know it's a slow news week when I'm following something on Twitter and then Bleeding Cool makes a whole story about the series of tweets. It's not often that you see that. And yeah, it has been a slow news story for Newsarama and Bleeding Cool as well. But they were talking about, and it ties into Bad Santa with being politically correct, was Greg Capullo. He, of course, is the artist behind Batman. Reborn right now currently is coming out. We just read issue number 2, which was, of course, excellent.
It was great.
Greg Capullo tends to, yes, he's an insane person. We talk about his artwork and how he'll scrap an entire page if he's not happy with it, a whole day's work. But he tends to stay away from politics. Religion as well is the other thing that he doesn't touch on. There was one tweet that was sent out to comic creators, and it was a good question, I felt. And it just asked, how do you feel about talking about religion or politics when it could affect the sales for your book or your works? And all he replied with was that he likes to keep religion and politics outside of his account and on his Twitter because he sees himself more as a creator of entertainment, as an escape from the political world or from reality, which is the most political answer you could give on top of that. And there was another artist as well for Top Cow Entertainment, Top Cow Publishing, that weighed in on it. And she said that being apolitical is choosing a political side in itself. Choosing not to comment is you being political also, because you're ignoring the problems, you're ignoring the issues, and that is not helping. So you're not taking a helpful stance to it. It went on. I don't want to read off and spend too much time on it, but I did definitely want to talk about it. It went on for a while in which, because Greg Capullo is white, they were saying that maybe that's why it's easier for him not to comment on things. And I do want to really quickly say, not to also alienate anyone like Capullo by choosing a side here, but even by not taking a stance, and his responses have still been, no, I'm an entertainer, before it pissed him off, and he finally said, a racist calling me racist, and him tweeting angrily and then deleting tweets. Just, if you are tweeting a creator, or if you feel like antagonizing a comic book guy or an actor out there, do understand that them ignoring you or choosing not to respond or blocking you or muting you is probably so that something like what happened to Greg Capullo doesn't happen to them. And that is that he immediately got almost into a state of being demonized for choosing. It's hard to describe it, but for being offended, he can't be offended because he's white. But then if he's not offended, it's atypical, and it's bizarre the place he put himself in by responding to it. So whatever a political creator, your favorite celebrity, whatever they end up standing on as far as politics of religion, if they end up commenting on it, which if they're huge, they probably shouldn't, understand that it is still their Twitter page. It is still their personal Facebook page or whatever it may be. Whatever they create shouldn't reflect on their personal beliefs, I don't think, even though this artist probably disagrees with me and disagrees with Greg, in that you shouldn't input that into your art. And we talked about that with Ethan Van Sciver, that he's not putting, Donald Trump in his comics because he's a supporter. We don't care. Just give us Green Lantern. And that's kind of what Capullo's stance was. How do you feel that your comment on all this? I know that it's a very, very weird and touchy subject.
It is. For many years, have been a firm believer, or I take the firm stance of I don't talk about politics and religion with people. What I've seen happen is once you start talking about those things, you never convince anybody of anything different. They believe what they want to believe. And so for me to rile people up like that, and people always look at people differently if you don't believe what they believe.
Correct.
They just do. It doesn't matter how long you've known each other. If you believe something different, you're a different person to them. So I just stay out of it. People can believe what they want to believe. I see both sides very clearly. Like, I understand, of course, I'm on the side, where Greg goes, where, listen, I'm out of the way. I'm an entertainer. I'm using this to escape. I get that. But I also see the other side where you should use comics to reflect what's going on in the world, to bring light to these situations, to try and solve these situations. I get both of those, and I think you need that balance of both to have such great stories like we have. If all of them were political, you would lose a lot of people. If all of them were escapes, you would lose a lot of people. You need both of them, and neither side is wrong. But you need that balance of both. And I don't think it's anything to fight over. I don't think that you should knock somebody for not wanting to put something political, not wanting to put their views into it.
And you will be knocked down, as what happened with Greg is if you take a no stance, then you're going to get knocked down. And he said, what if I had taken a stance in either direction? If I even shared that, imagine that backlash I would have gotten. I said, yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. And someone told him, Greg, just let it go at this point. Just stop, because you're going to bring on just more problems and more frustration to yourself. If you get ignored, and for some reason you decide to try to engage your favorite creator or just another friend, understand that if you get ignored, if you get blocked, this is why, because of what happened to Greg Capullo. Yeah, it's a slow news story, but he's now on Bleeding Cool. And that story is now going to be there whenever people search Greg Capullo, including the tweets that he deleted and screenshotted. That's all.
I mean, it's frustrating.
That is all. It's just a very sensitive time right now in politics. Ugh. So you're going to get a lot of these kind of bizarre stories and reactions from all sides, and kind of know how to deal with it.
Why can't we all just love each other and respect each other?
It'll be fine. It'll settle down in a few years. This happens every 4 years.
I know. It's ridiculous. Adios.
But we can all focus on that. We all love Batman.
Yes.
Everyone loves Batman. Even people that say they don't like Batman, they secretly they probably like Batman more than the ones that say they like Batman.
Oh, I totally validated a man's life, by the way, at work. When we throw this out there. So there's a guy walking around, and he had the Darkwing Duck shirt, but in the style of the animated series when he's standing like on the building, right? And I was like, oh man, I love your shirt. That's two of my favorite shows. And immediately he turns to his wife and he goes, see, honey, somebody appreciates this. And I was like, whoa! And she just ignored him.
Of course she did.
I was like, what did I get in the middle of?
That's a theme I see. Working at a comic shop too is a lot of guys pay with cash because they don't want it to reflect on their credit card because their wives don't like them buying comics.
How fortunate you are to have such a great wife.
So fortunate.
Yeah, you are.
So fortunate.
Yeah.
But that's also why I like keeping our accounts separately.
Listen.
And that's something I heard before we got married was a lot of people saying, just keep your accounts separate. That's going to be problems later. All right. Well, I was going to do that anyway. My money's my money.
I never nag you about money.
It's true. And I don't nag you either. So
that's right.
Now who's the fortunate one?
That's still you. Because I spend my money on things like groceries and sometimes dresses and shoes.
There you go.
But they're all for work.
So again, thanks a lot, listeners. Thank you for tuning in. And thanks for sticking with us, as I mentioned a few weeks ago on Facebook and on Twitter, for sticking with us through the highs, through the lows, when we disagree on Marvel movies. That's our political stance right there.
There you go. No, Marvel!
Or when we agree on the Marvel movies. Again, Civil War, we love all three Captain America movies, so seeing Civil War on there. I want to see Cap 1 again, make it on Netflix, so make that a part of the deal, Disney, if it's not already. Sprinkle it in there, have all three Cap movies so I can watch them back to back. I'll spend the day off watching all three movies.
When do you have this time?
on my one of 2 days off, which
Okay.
I'm fortunate that I have 2 days off, because I remember when I worked at GameStop and the comic book shop, it was just, maybe I'll get 1 day off and work weeks at a time. And when I heard part-timers complaining, like, I have to work 9 hours today. I'm like, really? You have to work nine hours?
Wow.
Oh, man, 9 hours. Oh, how do you... Oh my god! Oh, you get a break too? Well, only one break. Oh man!
Sound like me at work. Stop it.
Yeah, I worked fucking shifts where you work 14 hours. The longest shift I worked was a 34-hour shift in between 2 jobs. I just went from the movie theater to IHOP back to the movie theater. It's just what you did, and it was fine. You just sometimes have to do that. So I don't even know how I got on picking on people that work less.
Because they're babies, they just complain.
The other time I can feel tough.
Yeah.
Cold weather and long shifts.
Long shifts. I remember when I was working 3 jobs at one time, I would like go in and close one, get up and open one, and then work a mid-shift somewhere in there. Oh man, it was terrible.
Just got to do it sometimes.
Yeah.
Got to do it.
Worst time of my life.
So if we help you through those work days.
Yes.
That is enough repayment. That is awesome. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening this week. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Kelly.
We'll see you next week.